There is a little doubt in many circles that West is inherently full of misandry, and as much as one tries to ignore it, it cannot be said with full confidence that Christianity has not been instrumental in shaping the beliefs in the West. This idea that Christianity is inherently anti-masculinity is not as unpopular as one may think. Friedrich Nietzsche, a German philosopher, did indicate it strongly in his works. In fact, Christians themselves have largely glorified Christianity as being one of the ardent supporters of the rights of women among the supposedly more barbaric and less civilized civilizations. Let us look at one verse of the Bible to understand this anti-masculine dynamic that hides within the shadows of goodwill and feminism. Ephesians 5:25 says, "Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her." This verse seems bizarre. Bible itself remarks that no one is good except God alone. These words, even though uttered by Jesus to argue against him being called good, are believed to be true of Jesus as well. The traditional and orthodox versions of Christianity, whether Catholic or Protestant or other flavors, believe Christ to be sinless. If Christ is sinless and his giving up of life is significant because he gave up his life, as 1 John 3:16 and other verses outline, for sinners, then why is the same standard being expected of men when they can never be sinless and are not God? Why compare men to God and put an obligation on them? And it is not as if this obligation is not enforced by society. Even after feminism and "you go girl" and "my body, my choice" became the war cry and the norm. In fact, it is enforced so much that men are expected to save any and all women if they are real men, with tons of shaming if they don't do it. Notice how the verse seems to compare men to Jesus. That is God himself, even though the whole theology is based on the idea that Jesus was special and no one is comparable to him. That is, all men are so sinful that death, the worst of all normal human sufferings, is a just punishment. This is the manipulation deeply hidden within Christianity. It crafts several layers of deceit. Firstly, Exodus 20 describes murder as extremely bad, affirming the importance of life. This is the bait. Then when you suddenly chew on it, appreciating the fact that your life is well valued within the ambits of the religion, then suddenly you are told that the greatest sacrifice ever committed was an act of giving up of life by God for others' sins. And as you are a bit puzzled but awed at this greatest act of sacrifice, suddenly you are told you have to do it too, with an added caveat that you are sinner and nothing comparable to God. So essentially, you move from the idea of life being valuable to the societally held belief that you must give up your life for the sake of the female gender or for the sake of the society. It values your life as diminishingly important compared to the life of the woman or to the ideals held by the society. It frames the conversation in a manner that, in the name of goodwill and feminism, it takes away the right that it itself considers most important, that is, right to life. And even though it is supposedly pro-life, it reduces the value of it to nothing. It essentially uses men as sacrificial lambs for the sake of itself, society, and women. It uses the ambit of severe regard of life to avoid backlash or criticism. This is, however, not end of it, but merely the first step. In other videos, we will explore how Christianity takes away all freedom of conscience for men in matters related to gender, even though they deeply affect men.